Welcome to episode 4 of Love at First Scent, the Facebook Live event where basically what I try to do is gather up a few perfumes that I've received or that I've collected, new releases, and smell them live on camera for the first time in front of you and give you some of my initial impressions. The idea being that this is a kind of reverse of what I do on my blog with my written reviews, which tend to be, or hopefully are, a little bit more thought out, a little bit more planned out, considered. I give myself plenty of time to write them, etc., etc. This is meant to be the antithesis of that. This is meant to be taking me out of my comfort zone, putting myself on the spot, and trying to give you some instant impressions, some quick impressions of some things that are coming out in the next few weeks, or that already may be out. I hope some of you didn't mind the fact that I wasn't able to do this in June. You may remember that when I did episode 3, I said that I probably wouldn't be able to do an episode in June. That's because various other parts of life take over during the month of June. But here we are. Having said all of that, I think this is probably the only one that I'm going to be able to do for July. So I hope you enjoy it. I'll try and do another one in August, but I think probably chances are that the very next one I'll be able to do will be in September after this one. So the rules are the same. This is genuinely live, it is completely unplanned, it is completely unscripted. I always sort of sit down and cross my fingers and hope that the postman isn't going to come knocking at the door any second, or that there aren't going to be tons of sirens going past because I'm right by the window. I think today our main issue is going to be, ironically, a fly, because there is a fly buzzing around this room. And it doesn't seem to be wanting to stay still, so I hope that's not going to annoy us too much. I'm just going to sort myself out with a few bits and bobs of technology, because I just want to try and track what I'm doing here on the iPad. But I think it's best if we just get going straight away, and I thought we might start with this thing here, because that is the most recent thing that arrived in the post, and it's called Terroni, from the brand Orto Parisi. Some of you may be aware of this brand because it was set up by Alessandro Gualtieri, who of course had the Nasomato brand, which still enjoys a fair amount of success. So I thought this would be an ideal place to start, because I know next to nothing about this release, and the reason I know next to nothing about it is because I wasn't able to make it to the launch in London, so the brand has very kindly sent me a bottle, and this is actually a fantastic position to be in, to really not know what to expect, although I guess the name Terroni immediately starts making you think that maybe there's going to be something earthy about this, so I think we should begin. While I'm doing this, by the way, if you're watching and if you like what you're seeing, please do feel free to give me a few thumbs up and likes, etc., etc. As per usual, this video should also end up on YouTube, so if you are watching it later on YouTube, please consider giving me a thumbs up and subscribing to my YouTube channel. Now, I'm already intrigued by this. I haven't seen any Orto Parisi packaging before, but it's all sort of origami style, coming apart in my hands, which is fascinating. Almost like something out of Christopher Nolan's Inception, which I was discussing with somebody the other day. Right, we'll have a look at the packaging. Oh, okay, there goes a bit of the packaging. Right, so it's completely unfolded into this net with a curious artwork in the middle. Is it hair, or is it a forest, or is it just literally some sort of play of light? I guess it's setting up a few expectations for the scent itself. Okay, shut up, Persolaise, and start smelling. Right, let me get a blotter, one of my Perfume Society blotters. Thank you very much, Perfume Society. Right, let me just quickly label this blotter. Kind of stone-like, granite-like effect. Does that come across on the camera? You can probably just about see it. Did you see what I mean there, how it catches the light? Okay, will this be Love at First Scent? That packaging is bananas, says Joe. Yeah, I suppose I'm not a packaging freak, to be honest, because most of the time, as far as I'm concerned, it ends up in the bin, but Right, let's smell. Okay. Oh, gosh. Right, well, it's certainly earthy. Very, very, very deep, heavy balsamic notes. Vetiver, labdanum, patchouli, sandalwood. I mean, it does feel as though it is coming of the earth and out of the earth. And I have to say, it's really reminding me of Black Afghano, which I think is probably Gualtieri's most popular, most well-known perfume from the Nasomato range. Also maybe his most controversial perfume. So on the one hand, I must confess, I'm thinking, haven't we smelt this before? But you can't always have complete and utter originality as far as I'm concerned. I'd be interested to hear your views on that. You know, do you always expect your perfume to be entirely different from everything that's come before? I personally don't think you can go for 100% originality, and I haven't got my bottle of Black Afghano to hand, but I would be willing to bet that this is probably not as heavy, not as sweet, not as resinous, and this seems to be heading more towards vetiver, towards the sort of licorice-like rooty aspects of vetiver, and is heading in the territory of Encre Noire from Lalique. So at the moment it's feeling like a cross between Black Afghano and Encre Noire, which actually sounds like a pretty good sort of territory to head into. I mean, it's certainly very, very Moorish at the moment. Okay, at this point in the game, I usually turn to the press release to actually see what it is that we're supposed to be thinking about this perfume. So here's the press release. There's quite a lot here, and I haven't looked at this yet, but if I just kind of try and scan through it. So it reminds us that this is supposed to be, I think, a parfum concentration or an extrait concentration. It starts with something that looks as though it's being laid out like a poem. This project I wanted to dedicate to him who partially inspired me. First, I thought of writing his biography, but while writing I got bored, realizing that I never read biographies myself. The idea rooted from the fact that he, my grandfather, Vincenzo, used buckets to collect both his needs that timely ended up fertilizing the garden. In his garden hovered an air of infinite. Hereby, to my grandfather Vincenzo Parisi and to those who seize the time in experiencing and diffusing the perfume of life. Have any of you ever seen a Serge Lutens press release? I shall say no more. Then there's a bit called Manifesto. The parts of the body that carry more smell are those where more soul is collected. Discuss. The strong smells have become unpleasant to us because the excess of soul is intolerable to the extent that our innate animalism is repressed and breaking from civilization. I'm thinking this is starting to come across as a little bit heavy for a Friday afternoon, but I can go along with this, Alessandro. The excess of soul is intolerable to the extent that our innate animalism is repressed and breaking from civilization. Why do I always end up starting these episodes with perfumes that are about innate animalism? This project, he continues, is my garden. I have planted, fertilized, cultivated, and harvested. Orto Parisi states that our body is experienced like a garden. Nice. And its smells are a true mirror of our soul. Not so nice. Keywords: freshness versus stench, attraction versus repulsion. Two notes present in every fragrance: piece de cheval and boya butter. Fine, but this isn't particularly repulsive. This is maybe this says a lot about me. It's it seems perfectly accessible and rather delicious to me. Oh, and now I think we get something on this perfume itself, on Terroni. Okay, the world began with an explosion, fine. The terrain was created by a burning volcanic lava swallowing the surface underneath. There's something powerful and fulfilling about putting your hands in the soil. Gardening is not my thing. The sense of belonging to earth. In order to develop a natural beauty, one needs to bind with traditions and grow strong roots to maintain the true light of self. Yes, I couldn't agree more. The roots play a strong part in the growth and development of character. I think the word we're supposed to be picking out here is roots, people. And fine, maybe that's why essentially this fragrance is a vetiver, because of course the part of the vetiver from which we extract vetiver oil tends to be the root. And indeed it does have a characteristically, or should I say stereotypically, rooty odour. It is the smell of something that is partly woody and partly leaf-like that has been growing within the soil. It seems to combine all of those elements with that smokiness, with that sense of licorice, that weird resinous sweetness. And all of that certainly comes across very, very, very convincingly in this scent. And then I think something on the packaging. So Joe, are you listening? This is basically for you. Packaging leads to explore more. No, packaging leads to the bin. All Orto Parisi fragrances are hidden in a box. Hidden in a box? I mean, that's an interesting way of putting it. Aren't they just contained in a box? Hidden in a box that opens up into a metropolis and reveals an infinite whole of the centre. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the infinite Freudian slip, the infinite whole of the centre. Terroni floats in a glass flask with a tumbled gunmetal cap with an inlaid volcanic stone labelled by Savile Row tweed paper, very nice, with a very fine herringbone structure. Actually, yes, you can just about make out the herringbone structure, and it is rather attractive. Okay, well, I think we can put aside all of the stuff about the metropolis, although it's interesting, I thought of Christopher Nolan's Inception. I wonder if Gualtieri enjoys that film himself. And there is nothing more in the press release, so there you go. Wonderfully opaque press release. This seems to be resolving... Sorry, I've just seen the comment from Joe. If you keep flashing that hole, this live streaming might be flagged. Apologies to Facebook for the constantly flashing hole. We have now put the hole away. The infinite hole of, what was it? I'm not picking up that press release anymore. This is a vetiver. This is at the moment, as far as I can tell, a very beautifully rendered vetiver. Very much concentrated on the base notes. It's dark. It's probably darker than this plum-like, brandy-like colour would suggest. Certainly very, very nocturnal. What's interesting though is I don't think in my life I've ever visited a country that is both hot and volcanic. The most volcanic place I've ever been to is Iceland, and of course that isn't a particularly hot country. And that's why whenever I tend to think of volcanoes now, I either think of Pompeii or I think of Iceland. And this certainly isn't an Icelandic fragrance because it is much too warm, it's much too tropical. But I wonder if it wouldn't evoke visions of Pacific Islands or some such landscape where perhaps there is volcanic activity. Maybe I'm thinking, and obviously I will come back to it, maybe I'm thinking at the moment that it is only as complex as vetiver oil, which is to say quite complex, but maybe not as composed. There perhaps isn't a hell of a lot else going on there apart from the profile of vetiver oil itself. But let me know if you are intrigued by the sound of that. It is an extra concentration and the bottle is 50 mils. So I'm thinking thumbs up, but love at first sight, I'm maybe thinking more something along the lines of we've smelt this before. But okay, shall we move on? I'm a little bit worried about the next one that I would like to open. By the way, if there are any here particularly that you would like me to look at over the course of the next half hour, 40 minutes or so, please leave a comment. And anyway, if you would like to interact, please do leave a comment, and please don't forget that all of those thumbs up and likes, etc. are very much appreciated. But as I was saying, I'm wary of this one and I'm doing my very, very best to keep an open mind, because it is the latest from Elie Saab. Thank you very much for whoever gave me that little heart that just flashed across my screen. It's the latest from Elie Saab, and whilst I think that the main collection Elie Saab scents have been extremely well done by the Francis Kirkjian, who's sort of ended up being an in-house perfumer for Elie Saab, there isn't also anything particularly remarkable about them. There certainly isn't anything about them that would make me buy them as a gift for somebody else, which is not true of the more exclusive Elie Saab range. Some of the fragrances in that collection are very interesting indeed. But this is the first one in the main collection that isn't just a flanker of the original Elie Saab. But take a look at that name, people, and just tell me what you think. I don't know, that this Girl of Now, what are you wearing, Girl of Now? That just doesn't do it for me. And I know that Girl of Now is also the name of a campaign run by the couture side of Elie Saab. But just because something works on the couture side doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work on the perfume side. And I really do think that brands ought to pay more attention to names and also to thinking about whether names are going to translate. But let us have a sniff, because I'm sure what will happen is that we will just be blown away by this and we will forget about the name. What do you think of this packaging, Joe? I don't think we'll find any infinite holes in here. Oh, okay, gosh. That is an impressive bottle. It's a very, very pretty bottle. It instantly reminds me of something, and I can't think what. Is it a Givenchy that it reminds me of? I don't know, but certainly not that top bit. That is rather attractive. So I think we can say they got the bottle right. That would certainly make a very, very pretty addition to somebody's dressing table. Right, but we are about the smell, not the bottle. So, Girl of Now. That is just the most ridiculous name, actually. I can't get over that. What was the Calvin Klein scent that came out a few years ago? Was it called Downtown or something like that? I mean, again, just awful name. I mean, some names are. Anyway, enough about the name. Right. Okay. Let's see what you've got, Girl of Now. Sorry, does that face say it all? Do you know what? I now actually can't believe that the main criticism I levelled at the Orto Parisi is that we've smelt it before. Because actually, yes, maybe we have smelt the Orto Parisi one before, but not quite so many times. Whereas Girl of Now just seems to be the generic smell of high streets and department stores in the Western world at the moment. So actually, I have to sort of retract what I said a few minutes ago and state that Girl of Now is a perfect name, because it does indeed smell of every girl of the moment who goes into a shop and buys a perfume that smells like every other perfume. So now we can see that actually the name is an ironic, cynical statement on the state of modern perfumery and on consumers' inability to break out of their comfort zones and try and go for something a little bit different. So well done. Can you smell the sarcasm? This is, to my nose, one of those generic florals in the sense that what's Joe saying, by the way? That bottle looks like a flanker of McQueen Parfum by Alexander McQueen. Yes. Yes, maybe that's the one I was thinking of. Yes, thank you, Joe. Yeah, I think maybe that is the one that I thought of. Plus the Givenchy. It's that fluting there that's making me think of the Givenchy. Anyway, what was I saying? It is a generic floral in the sense that you kind of know that it's supposed to smell of flowers, but you can't particularly pick out any one flower. And of course, in itself, there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually quite interesting for perfumers to try to present a bouquet in which you get a sense of flowerness or floralcy without being able to pick out an individual bloom. But whereas, for instance, somebody like Jean-Claude Elena did that extremely well in Jour d'Hermès, where you really, really felt like you were being presented with this hypnotic bouquet, here it feels ersatz. It feels like somebody's trying to present you with a bouquet, but actually what you're getting is silk flowers, paper flowers that have been sprayed with somewhat unconvincing air freshener. It isn't a sugar bomb, thank goodness, even though there is a sweet element to it. I guess there's a kind of green bite going through that is preventing it from being a complete calorie fest. But it is just so far anyway, so pedestrian and, sorry, just boring. What does it say? Because there was a blurb here. The spirit of the girl of now in a fragrance. An addictive note of almond. No. Textured with orange blossom and patchouli. If you say so. Orange blossom. If you'd like an interesting orange blossom, I don't know if we'll get to this one, because this is one that I actually have smelled earlier. In case we don't get to it, Histoire d'Oranger from L'Artisan Parfumeur is a very, very good new orange blossom. I'm actually in the middle of writing a written review for that one anyway, so perhaps a prose review might appear on my blog within the next few weeks. That I can accept as a convincing orange blossom. This is just what passes for orange blossom. Now the press release for this is quite lengthy, so I won't go through it all. It starts off by mentioning the fashion side of things. Here's a little bit about the fragrance. An elusive, beguiling sillage, not as far as I'm concerned, an utterly unique elixir, please, that exudes all the facets of almond. It was a challenge worthy of Sophie Labbé and Dominique Ropion, two prodigious IFF perfumers. I mean, absolutely, their pedigree is fantastic, and two of the best perfumers in the business. But this isn't something where you can sort of lay the blame at the door of the perfumers. They, I'm sure, have delivered exactly what the brand and the marketing tests wanted. So Dominique Ropion and Sophie Labbé, who expressly concocted an absolutely addictive almond imprint steeped in Elie Saab's olfactory signature and irresistible orange blossom patchouli accord. Funnily enough, I'm not having any trouble resisting it at all. Like the sequins adorning the designer's finest creations, pear and mandarin bring sparkle, fresh roasted pistachio. Inspired by Lebanon, reinforces the fragrant aroma of bitter almond, but the ultimate novelty is a flower created exclusively for Girl of Now, the Ormonde flower. I wonder if Linda Pilkington of Ormonde Jane has anything to say about that. Fine cut like a couture gown, it gradually unveils its precious and gourmand facets thanks to an exclusive co-distillate orange blossom absolute and bitter almond essence. The couturier's favourite scent, orange blossom absolute. You know what, actually I've lost the will to live. The bottle, very good. And then there's a whole load of hashtags. There's hashtag Girl of Now Travels, hashtag Girl of Now Parties, presumably when she's not travelling, and hashtag Girl of Now Shops. What a wonderful lifestyle we're promoting here. So just travel, shop and party. No, sorry, hang on. There's also Girl of Now Eats. Oh, well, thank goodness for that, because how would she survive? What does she eat, I wonder? So hashtag Girl of Now Eats. Whether at the acclaimed table of an award-winning chef, of course, the intimate counter of a sushi bar, or the window of a new fusion food truck, each meal is a holistic experience. It's just not worth eating if eating isn't a holistic experience. I mean, why would you not have a holistic eating experience? Even breakfast takes on a celebratory air. My wife will vouch for the fact that for me, breakfast is always a celebratory occasion. With a fruit plate worthy of a masterpiece painting, an Instagrammable New verb. Smoothie or a bowl of homemade granola. Insatiably curious and intensely hedonistic. She doesn't choose between good and good looking, between style and substance. What she seeks is excellence with each experience, like with her fragrance. Girl of now. No, I am not convinced. Oh dear. It's just, if you've smelt this, please let me know and try and tell me how. It's such a shame though, because the bottle's actually really great, and maybe the colour there reminds me a little bit of the Miu Miu colouring, but almond, I mean, never mind, never mind. Let us just go back to Terroni for a moment. This feels like a masterpiece now. Yeah, it's still basically doing that vetiver thing, but now I'm thinking, Alessandro, I'm sorry I was a little bit lukewarm about your infinite hole. Yeah. Oh dear. Having said that, as it turns out, I didn't realise actually that Girl of Now was co-created by Dominique Ropion. So I think what we ought to do now is turn to another Ropion creation, a recent one, from the brand Jusbox, that, as far as I'm aware, in the UK are still exclusive to Selfridges. I'm just going to look over my shoulder to see how we're doing for time, because I'm conscious quite often of just taking up loads of your time with all of this. By the way, if you do have any questions, if you'd like me to cover any of these, please let me know. And I guess as I've been rabbiting on for about coming up to the half-hour mark, I should say what you are watching is episode 4 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise. Thumbs up, likes, hearts flashing across the screen, etc., are very, very much appreciated. I can't get enough of those, even though I didn't have very much love for Girl of Now. Now, the Jusbox people have done 2 perfumes which are exclusive to Selfridges. I had a quick glance at the press release, and I must confess I was a little bit puzzled because I didn't know exactly where they were going with it, so I'll have a look at it again. But press release aside, the new perfumes are, one of them is called, I guess, it's meant to be Live and Loud, because Live and Loud wouldn't make sense, so I guess it's Live and Loud. And then there's one which I've only got as a lab sample called Feel and Chill. So quite clearly they're carrying on with their musical theme. Do you know what? That Girl of Now has just filled this room, and it's making me want to finish this episode sooner, but I will persevere for you, because I'm good like that. So which one am I going for? I'm going for Live and Loud, just to label this. I do like, you know, bottles neither here nor there as far as I'm concerned, although I do appreciate a beautifully designed bottle, and I do like the Live and Loud bottles. I like the fact that the top is meant to be a sort of vinyl record. Speaking of records, shock horror, vinyl enthusiasts will shoot me now. I actually bought a record player the other day, and it was a beautiful record player, and it worked absolutely fine. But I took it back because I decided I was just being foolish, and I thought there's no way I'm actually going to start a record collection now, so I took it back. So all the hipsters hate me now. But I wonder if any of my viewers are hipsters anyway. Live and Loud from Jusbox. Here we go. Oh, okay. Thank goodness Girl of Now is just vanishing into the distance. This is intriguing. There's no coincidence that I actually sort of said that it's making Girl of Now fade into the background, because its immediate effect is of cutting through clouds, cutting through obstacles. It seems to be marking a very, very, very linear path. Who just gave me the smiley face? It seems very, very clear, very, very precise. Very streamlined. Not especially loud for something called Live and Loud, but okay, that's not a problem. And maybe the word I'm looking for is aldehydic. Maybe that's why it's got that fog dispersing quality, because it seems to be working in a kind of citrusy, champagne bubble aldehydic way with a kind of brace of woods in the background. Intriguing. That not the kind of thing you smell normally, because aldehydes tend to be accompanied either by rather lush, oversized floral notes, as in the case of Chanel No. 5, of course, or they tend to be used in an extremely cold, chilling way, like for instance what Christine Nagel did for Archive 69 for Et un livre d'orange, where they can be almost off-putting. Now, I may be talking a load of rubbish, perhaps this isn't particularly aldehydic, but that's certainly the sense I'm getting now. Right, let us see if we can find the press material. Where did I put all of the stuff about Jusbox? Okay, so this is telling me that Live and Loud is part of the Music Matters perfume collection exclusive to Selfridges. Okay. It starts with a quote from somebody from V-Monkeys, that's the duo that has created Jusbox. "I'm addicted to music and I can't live without it. Just play and recharge your energy." Perhaps I should have let them have my record player. "Music is the answer to a myriad of emotional needs." Oh my god, have we got these mock philosophical, cod philosophical press releases today. "It doesn't matter which genre, music has the power to inspire multiple responses. Physiological, emotional, cognitive, and behavioral at a very personal level. Recent research has proven that listening to music improves our mental well-being and boosts our physical health. Try to imagine a world without music. In just a second, you would realize how much music matters." Actually, I'm being facetious here. I agree with all of this. I couldn't live without music, but get to the point. "Music genre conveys specific benefits, so we can make the most of them by mixing up our playlists every once in a while. Live and Loud is a scented compilation whose notes reproduce through the aromatherapeutic power of smells, aromatherapy, na 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 na, similar beneficial sensation as music genre. Live and Loud is a playlist that boosts the mind." So I shouldn't be laughing, but isn't actually the very first thing that I said was, wow, it seems to have just cleared my mind. So don't be so mocking, Persolaise. "An opulent yet celebratory fragrance which starts with a hint of disco and hip-hop and then turns into more sensual accords of Latino and rock. Punk and heavy metal perform in the end to give power and adrenaline." Oh, so perhaps I'm not going to enjoy the end so much. "Dominique Ropion played with spices, flowers, woods, amber and leather to convey energy and zest. It boosts the mind. Citrus, flowers, spices, resins and woods all convey altogether energy and zest. From the olfactive family point of view, it is an oudi or floriental fragrance which is opulent and celebratory." Oudi. Need I say more? Oud? Well, I did say woody, didn't I? But yes, I suppose an oud that... What's that comment from Arafat? "The PR person either needs a huge raise or should be fired. I'm not so sure." I need to show you some other press releases. This is positively prosaic and scientific compared to some other press releases. Oud. Oud. No oud. But do you know what? I don't care that the press release doesn't seem to match up with what they're saying is in it, because I'm actually enjoying smelling it. I've gone for a skin spray. It does have that. There's something astringent about it, but in a very, very attractive way. Like you kind of want to keep replaying the beginning because it just makes the world a tidier, more ordered place. It's like... And maybe that's the citruses, but I swear there's something of that, the candle wax aldehydes in there. but I'm not getting oud. Do you know what? I don't normally do this, but I think I would actually like to straight away check out what the other one from this range is, the one called Feel and Chill. Do you fancy a bit of feel and chill? Or would you just like the feel of Alessandro Gualtieri's Infinite Hold? Never mind. I think Joe's right. I think Facebook are probably going to ban. You saw, Arafat says, I saw that. You saw what? Anyway, Feel and Chill from Jusbox, which I think is also a Dominique Ropion. Oh, this is okay. This is starting off. There's a massive. Oh, Arafat's accusing me of voguing. Right? No, do you know what? You're not going to believe me, but Vogue was not on my mind. I swear on my Madonna CDs. Okay, Feel and Chill. There was an ozonic burst, there was a marine burst just for a moment, and of course that always sets our teeth on edge and makes us think, oh, don't go down the marine way, because that never works. It's almost always unconvincing. But it's calmed down almost straight away, so that seaweedy, oyster-like effect has gone and is being replaced by salty citrus, almost like lime juice on cucumbers. Yeah, I don't know why I'm thinking lime juice on cucumbers, but that is exactly what I'm thinking at the moment. So it's green in that citrusy way. But you know what? The thing they have in common is, so far these two, I definitely want to smell more of them and try them on skin, because they're actually coming across as even more intriguing than the initial releases from Jusbox. The initial, I think it was a quartet that was done by Ropion and Antoine Lee. I did really like them, but they didn't rock the boat too much. I mean, 14-Hour Dream was probably my favourite from that collection, and I think that one was one of the Antoine Lee ones. It was a beautiful, beautiful vanilla, but it didn't particularly do anything with vanilla that hadn't been done before. But never mind, sometimes it's actually great to have something from the past represented to you, so that you can almost like reassess its merits. These two are coming across as more daring, more original. Yeah, the Live and Loud is definitely getting woodier, but Feel and Chill is lighter, fresher, more bracing, more transparent, more accessible. What have I got about that one, or do I have anything on that one? I seem to remember I printed something off, but I may be wrong. No, we've got something. Feel and Chill. Feel and Chill, are you ready for this press release? Let's see what we think of this one. Feel and Chill is a scented compilation whose notes reproduce, through the aromatherapeutic power of smells, similar beneficial sensation as music genres. Feel and Chill is a playlist of yada yada yada. Where does it go? So this one evokes peace, calm, comfort and calm. A fragrance dedicated to relaxation and lifting the spirits, which starts with a bit of classic and mainstream. What does that mean? After, reggae and new age, they could say anything they like. Make your breath follow the rhythm and harmony of the composition and prepare the spirits to the deep accords of blues and soul. Dominique Ropion created a fresh, musky, watery, okay, fine, melody, which will be discreet but very persistent to enjoy your inner peace. So as it says, it goes classic, mainstream, reggae and new age, Latino and blues, dedicated to relaxation and lifting the spirits, and so on. And it just repeats the line about it being fresh, musky, watery fragrance. Yeah, I think actually maybe the press release person should just be fired. But whoever's made the scent, Monsieur Ropion, we bow down to your talent as ever. This is interesting. The kind of thing that I think. What's Arafat saying? I guess there needs to be a twist to sell these scents. Now, yes, thank you for prompting that thought, because actually this is our next trend, I think. scents that are going to make you feel better, scents that are going to improve your mental equilibrium, mental detox scents. That is very much the raison d'etre of a whole new brand called, he says, searching his brain, called Anima Vinci, set up by Natalie Vinciguerra. Her whole idea is to almost like kind of do a yoga version of scent, where you sort of wear the perfumes and they bring you contentment and inner peace and enlightenment, and oh look, they've made your wallet lighter too. So this is where we are going next. I think maybe because there is heightened awareness of mental health issues, somebody somewhere along the line always tries to cash in on whatever is happening, whatever's floating around in the zeitgeist, and so it isn't surprising that I think that the perfume world is wanting to jump on this bandwagon. The reality, the fact that scents alter your mood is not new at all. I mean, I think I'm right in saying, I'd have to check my history books and my reference books, but I think I'm right in saying that ever since scented compositions were put together, at least part of their reason for being was to supposedly bring us closer to the gods and to bring us into closer contact with the natural world, maybe the supernatural world, and that in itself entails a kind of mental decluttering focus. So that is a concept that is as old as perfumery itself. But my view on these twists, if you want to call them gimmicks, whatever, is always fine. You can have whatever gimmicks you want, but just give us a half-decent perfume. And at least in the case of Jusbox, they do seem to have done that. I mean, I suppose they're starting to become a little bit more pedestrian as they're going along, but I would still wear these, and I would definitely consider taking Feel and Chill on holiday with me if I were going somewhere hot. So yes, intriguing. Now we've done 4, and I have been talking for, how does this happen? I've been talking for almost 3/4 of an hour. I'm sorry to make you listen to all of this, but obviously once it's up on YouTube and once it's permanently posted on Facebook, you will be able to rewind and fast forward at your leisure. Shall we do one more? I think maybe what I would very, very, very quickly like to mention, and perhaps we won't actually smell them, is this trio of exclusives from Lalique. If I move the Amouages aside, sorry, we haven't had a chance to do these, but these are my samples of the brand new Amouages, Figment Man and Figment Woman. I have smelt them. I will just say they are as strange and bold as some of the recent Amouage scents have been. Why is Arafat saying missed Thor and Odin, but very curious, obviously? What are you saying? I don't get your comments today. Or am I just being really, really slow? I mean, obviously something to do about being close to the gods. Yes? Yes? Okay. These are 3 exclusives from Lalique that are going to be, can you see them there? That are going to be in the UK exclusive to Harrods. These aren't their actual bottles. They're going to be quite pricey, these things, because I seem to remember they're going to be in the region of the sort of upper £500 or something like £600, but they will also come in more affordable refills so that you can just refill your beautiful crystal Lalique bottle. And I think I'm right in saying that these samples that I've been provided with, no, get the symmetry right here, these samples are the refill bottles. My heart sinks when a high-profile brand tells us they're doing a new exclusive scent or an exclusive range that is only going to be available in some top-end department store, because unfortunately the fact of the matter is that a lot of the time these so-called exclusive scents don't actually have anything particularly remarkable about them. But these 3 Laliques are different. I think the budget that the perfumers were given was significantly higher than what they may have been given for one of the more mainstream releases, because even though they may not reinvent the wheel, these 3, they are really quite beautiful examples of what they are supposed to be. So one of them is a white floral, and it really is a beautiful jasmine. One of them is an amber, and it's just an excellent sensuous amber, and one of them is supposed to be a musky rose. That's probably my least favorite of the three, because I wish there'd been a little bit more to it than just musky rose notes. But if you like the idea of a musky rose, it is a great musky rose. Their names, now this is the annoying bit because the bottles haven't been labelled, but I remember that one is called, I think it's the amber that's called tendre. No, sorry, the amber is called sensuel or sensual. The white floral is called tendre, tender, and I'm pretty sure see, now I can't remember now whether the rose is, let's have a look. No, sorry, there you go, got that wrong. The rose, the musky rose, is tendre or tender, and the white floral is lumière or light. They really should have labelled those, but if I just try and get the amber, is this the amber? Yes. You know, sometimes you just think, do you know what, you can't be original all the time, so just return to a classic perfumery accord and do it well, and use good quality materials, and allow me to enjoy all those aromatherapeutic benefits. It just really works. The vanilla feels like a beautiful vanilla. There's a really great citrus note in there to lift it all. I think there's probably quite a hefty injection of benzoin to give it that gorgeous white, that powdered white chocolate feel, almost like the kind of thing that you get from Chanel's Coromandel. Beautiful, clean, fur-like velvety patchouli. These are worth saving up for. I would certainly forego 4 or 5 girls of now and save up my hard-earned pennies for one of these Laliques, especially the amber, which I really liked. If you enjoy the original Must from Cartier, if you like the idea of the base notes of Shalimar, if you like Chanel's Cocoa, it's just effortless sophistication, really effortless sophistication. And I think on that note, I should bring proceedings to a close. So, what I normally do with these Love at First Scent episodes is that after about 4 or 5 hours, I re-sniff the blotters to kind of give you an update in the comments below the video on Facebook, so that you know what's happened with the scent, you know, because who knows, Girl of Now may have turned from an ugly duckling into a ravishing beauty. Let's see what Girl of Now is doing at the moment. She is still doing my head in, so to speak. Ugh, it's just, no, why did I do that? See, now I wish I hadn't done that. Let's smell something else. Let's smell that. Which is the one that cleared my head? It was Live and Loud, wasn't it? Let's do that. Ah, much better. Once Facebook does its thing, the video will be permanently posted to my Facebook page. And even if you leave a comment after the live stream, I will do my very best to answer it. And then in a few days' time, the video will go up on YouTube. So if you're watching it on YouTube, thank you very much for watching. Please consider subscribing and giving me a thumbs up. And if you leave a comment on YouTube, I will try to answer that as well. And I think I should leave you with a final glimpse of... Is it upside down? A final glimpse of the infinite whole. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Bye.